Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where hours have teeth, and eternity curls like a sleeping serpent. There was a night before calendars, before memory, before dawn even knew how to climb the sky. Nothing aged, nothing grew, nothing ended, because time had not yet begun. It lay coiled in the darkness like silver thread never spun, breathing slow beneath the ribs of creation. A river moved without flowing. Mountains existed without erosion. Stars shone like thoughts unspoken. Eternity was still, until the serpent opened its eyes. No name, no past, no future. Only motion in a world that had never moved. Scales black as unwritten ink, rimmed with unborn starlight. Its body a perfect circle, head against tail, thought against silence. It shifted. Time began. Seconds spilled like first breath. Minutes like roots spreading through darkness. Years like sparks across endless void. The serpent tasted motion, hungered, swallowed time. Seconds became minutes. Minutes became ages. Galaxies spun faster. Worlds burst into flame. History erupted like dawn. Creation existed because time was eaten. The serpent did not know hunger, only instinct. Consume, continue, keep future out of reach, by swallowing it before it came. Thus time became loop, the universe a wheel, the serpent its rim. But on a newborn world of stone and ocean, a single being stirred, who did not accept the loop. Her name was Lyra, not goddess, not mortal, a shape of song and shadow. She woke beneath an infant sky, pulse in rhythm with eternity. Yet she remembered moments she never lived, a sunrise not yet born, a city built then ruined, a child mourned but unborn. She felt time bend around her, tides without shore, future devoured before arrival. The world repeated, war repeated, love repeated, mistakes repeated, again and again and again. Not one future forever. Lyra stood beneath looping stars, and whispered the first rebellion. I will break the circle. Stars trembled. The serpent heard. His body shifted across eternity. Centuries skipped like stones across water. Seas reversed. Children unaged into memory. It lowered its infinite head. All things return. All paths curve back. There is no breaking eternity. Lyra met its gaze. Then I will teach time to move forward. The serpent uncoiled. The future cracked like ice under weight. And so began the war no sword could win. Direction versus circle. Progress versus perfection. Lyra versus eternity. Time flickered. Stars bent. The circle trembled. The story begins here. Time reeled like wounded sky. For the first moment in eternity, the future was not guaranteed. Lyra's vow cracked across creation, and the serpent felt hunger denied. The loop trembled. The world rewound, seas reversed. Stars blinked out then back in. But Lyra stepped forward. One step. Impossible. Forward. Time tried to pull her back. Footprints reversing. History demanding circle. Yet she moved. Forward. The serpent watched stunned. Minutes became arrows, not rings. Hours learned direction. A future flickered like candle flame. Lyra parted time like curtain. She saw a path, not memory, not repetition, but future. Terrifying. Alive. New stars were born original. Oceans reshaped themselves. Weather broke pattern. Time turned to story. The serpent circled her. Every scale a century. Forward leads to end, it warned. End ends me. Lyra answered. Stillness is not living. The serpent lunged. Time shattered. Centuries forked like rivers. Possibility screamed. Lyra ran ahead. Each step birthing future. Progress wind tore eternity open. But her shadow did not follow. Stayed looped behind. Forward was freedom. Forward was loss. The serpent slowed, calculating. If she outran herself, future would collapse beneath her. Lyra reached edge of time. Past could not hold. Future could not catch. Alone. Behind eternal loop. Ahead unending line. She whispered, if I cannot break the circle, I will teach it to open. Time stilled, curious. Not broken. Not whole. Open. She turned to her shadow. Still frozen in cycle. Forward met loop. Two halves of a paradox. A circle that could grow. Forward Lyra and Shadow Lyra stood at the fault line of eternity. One moved only ahead, breath like sunrise. The other looped only behind, pulse like echo. Two truths. Two impossibilities. If they touched, time could rewrite or collapse. The serpent watched, colossal and coil-bound. It did not hiss. It waited. For eternity had never been divided. Lyra reached toward her shadow. Forward Lyra trembling with tomorrow. Shadow Lyra steady with memory. Truth met truth. Future met past. And reality rippled like ink in dark water. We were safe in the loop, Shadow Lyra said. We were trapped, Forward Lyra answered. Safety is not prison. But prison is not safety. Neither wrong, neither right. Time balanced like blade on breath. The serpent lowered like eclipse, jaws wide to swallow both halves. But Lyra moved toward her shadow, not forward, not back, toward, palm to palm, mirror to flame, recognition, convergence. You remember what I lose, Forward Lyra whispered, and you become what I cannot, Shadow Lyra breathed. They merged, not collapse, opening. Time did not break. It unfurled. Past and future entwined like double helix. Circle and line embraced. The serpent recoiled, loop no longer perfect. It was alive. Lyra inhaled centuries. Exhaled possibility. She walked not ahead, not behind, within time itself. The serpent trembled. If you grow, you leave me, it finally spoke. Lyra answered, voice holding memory and tomorrow. You can grow with us. She extended her hand. First invitation in history. Do not eat time. Shape it. The serpent paused, then lifted tail from jaw. Circle unlatched. Eternity gasped. The serpent unfurled into spiral, endless but expanding. A forward loop. Time alive, not devoured, not trapped, becoming. Stars rewrote. History rooted. Future flowered. The serpent shed its skin, eternity husk falling like yesterday. Beneath, iridescent scales, ringed with memory, bright with future. Not destroyer, gardener. Lyra smiled. Change became partnership, but evolution is fire. Spiral widened too fast. Worlds multiplying futures like river branches. Lyra felt strain, time needed anchor. A seed. She gathered past in one hand, future in the other. Between them, time hovered like silver flame. I will choose a moment to root it. The serpent bowed, not defeated, but joining. Together they would choose the first year. Time widened into breathing spiral. Future branched like rivers. Memory rooted beneath stone. The universe trembled with choice. Lyra cupped time like water, overflowing, luminous, uncertain. The serpent hovered beside her, no longer predator, no longer prisoner, newly unbound. A cycle must begin somewhere, said like starlit wind. Beginning without end was chaos. End without beginning was void. Growth needed anchor. From Lyra's palms 4 lights pulsed. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, before. We need a moment the future can measure itself against. Choose, said the serpent. Which moment should become year 1? The birth of stars? The uncoiling of serpent? Her merging with shadow? Lyra chose something smaller. The moment she defied eternity. Bare feet on newborn ground. Stars looping in repetition. Serpent circle unbroken. And her voice, fragile, rebellious. I will break the circle. Change began not in power, but in courage. She pressed her hands into silver flame. Time bent like molten metal. She lifted that moment to the sky. The universe paused. Galaxies held breath. Comets froze mid-fall. Lyra spoke. Year 1 begins with defiance. The flame split into 12 arcs. 12 breaths. 12 pulses around her. She set them into Serpent's spiral body. Like seeds into moving earth. Time settled into rhythm. Month of memory silver. Month of shedding violet. Month of growth green. Month of daring gold. Seasons formed. Cycles breathed. Rain learned pattern. Seeds learned return. Not loop. Not line. Cycle. Living, changing, returning, but never the same. The serpent felt time pulse through it. Like new heartbeat. Not devoured. Not trapped. Becoming. It bowed in respect. Teach me to guide the wheel that moves. We will guide it together, she said. The first year began. Mountains grew and wore down. Not identical but evolving. Rivers deepened. Forests rose, fell, rose differently. Civilizations echoed. Never repeated. Spiral wide, alive. The serpent became gardener of renewal. Lyra became keeper of growth. Time had direction and rhythm. The universe exhaled like music. But growth is hunger by another name. Centuries widen the spiral too far. Possibility strained like branch in storm. Lyra felt tremor, same ache as first step forward. The serpent felt it too. More structure, it asked. More freedom, she answered. Both true, both incomplete. On far edge of spiral, a presence stirred. Not serpent, not Lyra, a being born of years themselves. Rings layered like ancient tree. Time had made a child, and it was waking. Time had never created before. Consumed, repeated, flowed, but never shaped itself into life. In the widening spiral, moments curled around moments, memories pressed into memories, unborn futures braided with ancient past. Pulse formed, a heartbeat made of centuries. Lyra felt it first, like a seed shivering underground. The serpent felt it next, like a missing scale returning. Time was giving birth. At the edge of the spiral, light flickered gold beneath unseen ice. The figure took shape, skin of layered rings like a tree trunk. Constellations veined under the surface. Hair braided from seasons. Eyes like clocks where sand fell upward. When it inhaled, epochs shifted. When it exhaled, old wounds softened. Lyra whispered, "Time has a child." The serpent bowed its head. "And we must raise it." The child stepped into existence, feet leaving no mark. It looked at Lyra, then at the serpent, then asked with creaking ancient voice, "What is ending?" The question pierced cosmos. Lyra had never known it. The serpent had always feared it. Ending had been avoided by swallowing time into loop. Now time's own child wanted to meet it. Lyra knelt. Ending is when something stops, so something else may begin. The child gazed, and winters melted in its eyes. "Show me." The serpent flinched. "No." Ending unravels. Ending erases. Ending kills the loop. Lyra stood between beast and child. Ending is not enemy. It is boundary. If something ends, the serpent whispered, time may cease. If nothing ends, Lyra replied, nothing matters. Truth too sharp to swallow, but real. Lyra reached into the spiral and drew one life thread. An old astronomer, 81 years beneath shifting stars. One great love, one great grief, maps of constellations, lullabies for grandchildren, a story complete, not cut short, done. She cupped his final breath and placed it in the child's hand. He exhaled and did not return. No loop, no repeat, and cosmos fell silent. The serpent lowered its head, not defeated, understanding. Ending was harvest. Without it, time drowned. With it, time breathed. The child glowed. Seasons wrapped closer. Winter to spring to summer to fall. Crown of branches, limbs of years. I will be memory and future, it said. I will be growth and rest. Now time could be born, live, and end. From ending grow again. You have made death, murmured the serpent. Lyra held its jaw and answered, No, we have made meaning. Time surged, galaxies aged, stars died in beauty, forests rotted into rich soil, civilizations fell and were remembered. The universe was no longer perfect. It was alive. Time's child stood beneath widening spiral. Lyra and the serpent watched. Growth and continuity, line and circle. The child spoke. What am I? You are the one who remembers and releases, Lyra said. You are neither hunger nor rebellion, said the serpent. The child understood. It was balance, flow and rest, growth and return, life. The child raised its voice. I will take a name. Stars waited. Galaxies held breath. I am Chronicle, keeper of stories, bearer of endings, seed of beginnings. Time bowed. Reality opened. Lyra touched Chronicle's hand. Guide gently. Endings are delicate. The serpent glowed with new softness. We will remember, it said. Lyra shimmered, not dying, arriving, becoming season, becoming memory, becoming whisper. Her final breath. Grow well. And she was gone. The serpent curled beside Chronicle, no longer circle, but open spiral. Chronicle planted first, ending like seed beneath moonlight. A flower of centuries bloomed. New stories would grow. Not loop, not line. Life. The universe slept peacefully, knowing tomorrow would return transformed. Thank you for listening to Sleep with Myth. May your time spiral wide and gentle, your endings soft as winter, your beginnings bright as spring. The end and the beginning.